Hello viewers, this is Jyoti from Department of Computer Science and this is our third session of Java Swing class. If you missed the first two sessions, then you can go to the link at the description. Now let us move on to our session. In the first session, we have seen introduction to Java Swing, some features, differences between AWT and Swing, hierarchy classes of Swing class, then some important methods of component class. After that, we have seen some container components such as JFrame, JPanel and JComponent. Then other GUI components such as JLabel, JButton, JTextField, JCheckbox, JRadio button. All these things we have discussed in the previous sessions. Now we are moving on to the following controls, that is J combo box, J option pan, J scroll bar, J table. So these are the components that we are going to see in this session. So first we are moving on to J combo box control. So what is the combo box? It is a combination of a text box and a list box. So in the text box we can see a drop down triangle symbol at the corner. If we click that triangle symbol, then list box will open. So from this list of options you can be, from that you can choose one of the option. So J combo box is a control, using that we can choose one of the options. So this J combo box occupies less space compared to list box. So the list box shows the entire list of items, whereas J combo box will show only the selected item. So it occupies less space. So for using this J combo box, we have to use javax.swing package. J combo box extends J component class, implements several interfaces such as item selectable, list data listener, action listener and accessible interfaces. Next we shall move on to the commonly used constructors of J combo box class. So the first constructor is an empty constructor. Using this you can create a empty combo box. So at the runtime you can view a empty text box along with the downward triangle symbol. When you click that downward triangle symbol, then you can view an empty list. So no items can be viewed. The second constructor is an array of objects. So using that, when you run it, then at runtime you can view the first item in the text box, and when you click the drop down triangle symbol, then you can see set of objects. From that you can select one of the object or one of the item. So that is second constructor. Then the third constructor is list of items belonging to vector data type. Vector is a dynamic data type where storage space can be determined at the runtime. So these three are the constructor. First constructor is an empty constructor where we can create a empty J combo box. Then second one is list of objects. Then the third type is list of vectors. With this, let us move on to the commonly used methods of J combo box. So the first method is add item. So using this method, we can add an item into the combo box. So we can add any number of items into the J combo box at a runtime using this method. Then second method is we can remove the item, existing item from the J combo box. So any number of items can be removed till the combo box becomes empty. Then the next method is remove all items. So using this method we can remove all the items from the combo box control. Then the fourth method is a set editable method. So using this method we can determine whether the combo box control can be editable or not. So if the editable property is false, then we cannot insert or remove items into the combo box. So in order to insert items or in order to activate any item, then we have to make that editable property as true. So next method is add action listener. So we all are familiar about this add action listener method. So using this method, we have to register the user actions with the interface. If any user events such as clicking or dragging the mouse happens, then what action has to be carried out, it is decided by this method. So the next method is add item listener. So the item listener is another interface. With this, when we register it, then any movement of the items within this control can be registered. So appropriate actions will be carried out. So for that, we use this add item listener method. So these are the methods that are generally we use with this J combo box control. Next, we shall move on to the example of J combo box. So here we are using one frame and then one combo box control. So the title of the frame is combo box example, and we have given one array of string where list of countries are given, and we are going to add all these country names into our combo box. So the combo box will show the list of countries, and from this you can select any one of the country. And the usual method of making the frame size, then set bounds method, then frame visibility property, then frame set layout property as null. So all the remaining are same, similar to the previous example program. So you can see the program as well as the output in the screen. Now we shall move on to the second example of J combo box control. Here we have used the action listener interface. So here we can view in the screen a frame. Within that frame can view one label control and a combo box with a list of programming languages, and then one button control. So when we select one of the programming language from the combo box, then if we click the button control, you can view the result in the label control as the programming language selected is. Say for example, if we select the language Java from the combo box control, then we can view the result in the label control as programming language selected is Java. So with this arrangement, we have designed the example program. So here we have used the frame with the title combo box example, and the button control with a caption show, and an array is used with programming languages like C, C++, Java. So the second type of constructor we have used for creating J combo box, that is combo box with the array of objects. Then we have used set bounds method for fixing the control. Then we have used the add method for adding the controls, that is combo box control, button control, label control, and the next we have fixed the frame size using set size method, then frame visibility property as set visible true, then frame layout property using the method set layout as null. So all these things we have done. In addition to this, we have registered our button control with our action listener interface using the method add action listener. So for using this add action listener method, we have to include action performed method. So in this action performed method, so when we click the combo box control, the item that is selected from the combo box has to be displayed in the label control. So for this, so we have used two methods. One is get item at, another one get selected index. Get selected index will retrieve the position of the item. Say for example, if Java is the third item in the list, it will return the value as 3. Then get item at, this method will retrieve the value at the position of 3. So the third item is Java. So the text Java will be retrieved from the combo box using these two methods. And this retrieved item can be placed in the label control with the set text method. So you can see the program as well as output in the screen. Next we shall move on to the next control. So the next control is a JTable control. So using this control we can display set of data in a tabular format. So it is composed of row and column format. So this is mainly used for displaying data in a tabular format. So for using this JTable component we have to use javax.swing package. Next we shall see the commonly used constructors of JTable. So first constructor is empty constructor. So we can create a table with empty cells. Then second one is a constructor with the two parameters. First parameter is the array of row object, and second parameter is array of column objects. So using this you can create a table with a specified number of row and column data. So next we shall see the example program of JTable control. So here we have used one frame control. Within that frame control we are going to fix here J scroll pan, and within that scroll pan we are going to fix a table. The table has 3 columns, and here we have used one two-dimensional array named as data. Within that we have given 3 rows of data, and we have used one-dimensional array column. Within that we have given the title for the individual columns. The first column title is ID, second column title is name, the third column title is salary. So we have created a table with 3 rows and 3 columns. Next we have added this table into the scroll pan here. The main purpose of scroll pan is we can scroll either horizontally or vertically to view the content. So if the table size exceeds, you can view the table content using the scroll bars. So for that only we have used the scroll pan. Then this scroll pan is fixed into a frame. So this is our output arrangement. So with this arrangement we have created a table and a scroll pan. Next we have added the scroll pan into the frame using add method. Then the usual methods for frame control is used as usual. So we can see the program with output. Now we shall move on to the second example of JTable component. Here we have used frame control, then scroll pan, and then one table. So for inserting data into the table, first we have defined a two-dimensional array with the name data, where 3 rows are given. Then we have given one column array. With this column array we have given the title of the column as ID, name, and then salary. And next to that we have created a table using the JTable class with data and column 2 parameters. Then next to this is we have fixed this table into a scroll pan. So for this we have created a JScrollPan object. So after creating a table we have used a method known as set cell selection enabled method. Using that we have enabled the property as true, so that we can do selection within the table. Then we have created an object select using the method get selection model. So using this selection model object we can fix the number of selection as either single or multiple. So when we use a list box like that, we can do multiple selection. So in the same way, in the table also we can do multiple selection at the same time using this method get selection model method. With this we have created one object known as select. After that we have set the selection mode as single selection. So if you want to do multiple selection, you can use the multiple selection constant. Then we have used add list selection listener for this JTable component. When this listener is added, then all the user action within the table will be registered and the appropriate actions can be carried out. So for using this add list selection interface, we have to use value changed method. So we have to define this value changed method. So whatever value that is changed within this, what action to be carried out, that is defined within this module. So here when the item is selected, just we have shown it, the highlighted cell will be shown. So within our value changed method, we have used 3 methods. So first method is get selected rows. So using this we can select which row is selected. Suppose if we click the third row, then it will return the value as 3. Similarly, the second method used is get selected columns. So with this, which column is selected, we can retrieve it. Say for example, if second column is selected, then it will return the value as 2. Then the third method is get value at method. So this will retrieve the content at that location. So we have selected third row and the second column. So the 3,2 value is Sachin. So this, as per our example, the third row second column value is Sachin. So this value will be retrieved using get item at. Then we have displayed that value in the screen. So this is our program. We can view this program in the screen with the output. So the next component we are going to see is J option pan. So using this control, we can get a dialog box. So the dialog box can be of 3 types. One is message box, another one confirmation box, another one input box. So when the component is a message box, then the defined message can be shown. Then if it is a confirmation box, then it will show with the confirmation like this, yes, no or cancel. Such kind of confirmation can be viewed in this. We can give the confirmation. Then the third type is the input dialog box, where we can input the required value into the application. So these 3 types of dialog boxes can be created using the J option pan. This option pan is inherited from J component class, and it implements accessible interface. The commonly used constructors are, the first one is empty constructor. So with this dialog box will be created with no message. Then second type is with the message. So a dialog box will be shown with a given message. The third constructor is option pan with the message and message type. So you can view the message as well as the type of message using some symbols, icons. So if it is an information, then it will show I like symbol. If it is an alert message, you can get a exclamatory mark. And if it is a input box, then you can get a question mark like this. Some icons can be viewed. With this we can know the type of dialog box it is. So these 3 are the commonly used constructors of J option pan. Now let us see some of the important methods of J option pan. So first method is create dialog. So with this method we can create a dialog box with the given title. So this has the parameter title, where we can give the title of the dialog box. The second method is show message dialog. So this method can be given in 2 formats. In the first format, we have to give 2 parameters. The first parameter says where this message is going to be displayed. So we have to specify the parent component. So if you are going to display this message into a frame, then the frame object should be the first parameter. Then the second parameter is the message, the message that we are going to display within this dialog box. So the first format has 2 parameters. So the first parameter is parent object. Then second one is that message that is going to be displayed. In the second format of show message dialog, we can give 4 parameters. The first parameter is the parent component object. Second one is the message that we are going to display. Then the third one is the title of the message window, the dialog window. We can give a title. Then the fourth one is what type of a message we can give. So for that we can use a message type. The third method is show confirm dialog method. Using this, we can create a dialog box with the confirmation buttons. So we can generally get the confirmation like this: yes, no and cancel. So 3 buttons are there with some caption. So this method has 2 parameters. First one is the component object, second one is the message. So the message can be displayed with 3 buttons: yes, no and cancel. Then the next method is show input dialog. Using this method, we can create a dialog box where a text box can be shown with the 2 button controls OK and cancel, and within that text box you can enter the value. So here also we can give a message as well as the title. So after entering the data inside the text box, you can press the OK button, or otherwise you can click the cancel button. So this is the function of show input dialog method. The next method is set input value method. Using this method, you can change the value that was already input into this dialog box. So these are the commonly used JOptionPan methods. Now let us move on to the first example. In this example, we have used one frame. Within that, we have shown one message. So the parent component is a frame, and within that component, we are going to display a message window. We can use show message dialog method for displaying the message. Here we have used the method show message dialog. So you can see the program in the left side, and you can view the output in the right side. Next, we shall move on to the next example. In the second example, we have used the show message dialog method with the 4 parameters. So the first parameter is the parent component. Here we have used the parent component as a frame. Within that frame only we are going to display the dialog box. And the second parameter is successfully updated message. So this message will be displayed within the dialog box. And the third one is the title of the dialog box. Here we have given the title as alert. Then the fourth parameter is the symbol. So what type of message it is. So here we have used the constant warning message. So using this constant, we can get the exclamatory mark. So that says that this is an alert message. So the second example clearly says, so you can see the program with the corresponding output. In the third example, we have used show input dialog method. So here also we have used one frame, and within that we have used a message window. So here we have used show input dialog method. So within that we have used the message enter name. So you can get a dialog box with a text box, and the caption of the text box is enter name. Within this text box we can enter any text at the runtime, and below that we can view 2 controls. One is a OK button, another one cancel button. So after entering any value, we can click this OK button, or otherwise we can cancel the operation using cancel button. So you can see the program as well as the output in the screen. In the next example, we have used show confirm dialog method. So using this, we have designed one frame with the confirmation dialog box. So dialog window generally has a information message, and then 3 buttons: yes button, no button and cancel button. Here within our program we have used the interface add window listener interface. So when we use this interface, we have to use the window closing method. We have to define window closing method. Within this method, we have defined that if the yes button is clicked, then we have set the set default closing operation method as exit on close. Otherwise, we have defined the set default closing operation method as do nothing on close. So when we click the yes button, the window will be closed. When we use no button or cancel button, the window will not be closed. So with this arrangement, we have defined the program. So you shall see the program as well as the output in the screen. Next, we shall move on to the last control. The last control is a J scroll bar control. So using this we can create a horizontal as well as vertical scroll bar in our container control. So whatever control we are using within that container control, we can use this scroll bar control. So we can create both horizontal as well as vertical scroll bar. It is defined in javax.swing package, and it is inherited from JComponent class, and it implements adjustable and accessible interfaces. Next we shall see the commonly used constructors of JScrollbar. The first one is empty constructor. So using this you can create a vertical scroll bar with the default initial value. Then second one is we can create a JScroll bar with the orientation. So here we can fix either the scroll bar orientation is horizontal or vertical. The default one is vertical, we can fix it as a horizontal or vertical. Then the third scroll bar with the orientation, initial value, and then extent, minimum and maximum values. So set of values we can define along with the orientation in the third constructor. So these are the constructors, 3 constructors. Next let us see the first example. In the first example we have defined one frame. Within that we have defined a scroll bar. We have used the empty constructor, so we can view a vertical scroll bar in the screen. And as usual we have given the frame methods, set size, then visibility property, then layout. So all these things we can define the same way. But here when we click the scroll bar, when we do any adjustment within that vertical scroll bar, no action is carried out because we have not included any listener for this component. So we can see just a scroll bar in the screen. So you can view the program as well as the output. Next we shall move on to the second example. Here we have used adjustment listener. So when we use this listener, then we can do the adjustment. So in the previous example we can do adjustment, but the adjustment cannot be recognized. No action can be carried out. But here we can use adjustment with the scroll bar, and what adjustment we have made can be retrieved because we have included the action listener interface. Now let us see the program description. So we have used one frame control, one label control, and then a scroll bar. The label control alignment, here we have given the horizontal alignment as with center alignment. Then we have used default constructor for the scroll bar, so you can view a vertical scroll bar. We have used adjustment listener. So when we use this adjustment listener, so whatever adjustment we have used within the scroll bar can be listened, and appropriate action we can do with that adjustment. Then for this listener we have to define adjustment value changed method. So within this method we have used get value method. So this get value method will get the integer value of the position where the scroll bar adjustment is. So the lowest value is 0 and the maximum value will be 100. So in between where the slider is present, that is defined by get value method. So using that get value method we have shown the text of the label controller using set text method. So you can view the screen as vertical scroll bar value is 36. So the slide shows the program as well as the corresponding output. So with this we have defined so many controls and their constructors, methods, some examples related to the controls. So in this session we have seen 4 components. The components are JCombo box, then JTable, JOptionPan and JScroll bar. So this slide shows some of the components for your future study. So with this we conclude the session. Thanks for watching. I think this session may be useful one for you. Thank you.